So, four-wheel drive, twin turbo swap. First problem. I apparently don't know how to use a tape measure when I was mapping all this out. And when I put that underneath that, I'm going to be left with 3 to 4 inches of ground clearance. Working on some plans to make that best case scenario. So one of the things is I can angle this a little bit, and which will create a little bit of angle from this to the transfer case output. As long as it's not too extreme, it'll be fine. So adding a little angle on this underneath the motor will help pull that up. So I'm gonna have to re-drill these so I can shift this and keep this pretty even with the motor. I think that'll help. And then or slot it so I can adjust it would be really nice actually. And then also so there was like a little kick up here. I shaved that off. I had aluminum shavings everywhere, all over the place. And then there's this ribbing here. The other thing I didn't measure well for some silly reason, I thought I could just center the motor here, but it's a different length from here to there as it is from here to there. So this is actually the center line of that distance, and I'm not going to be able to bump it all the way over. So I shave this down so I can move it over as much as possible. And then it's just going to require different length axles is what I'm thinking. So not nothing so far that's going to train wreck the whole thing, but definitely some things to work out. So if I can get where it sits now would be approximately 3 inches. If I can tilt it, get a 1/2 inch to inch there, and then if I can move the motor up a 1/2 inch or something like that, that will all help. So if I can get close to 5 inches, that will be great. That's all I'm working with anyway. You know what I'm saying? So that that should work. All right, car's up in the air. Started taking some more stuff apart to get the motor out. Let's see if we can see underneath here. Transfer case is gonna sit probably about that low, and then the drive shaft will sit like right through here. All of that's fine, but there's not a lot of room in the tunnel, so I'm gonna have to kind of hammer and maybe trim because it's really wide, whereas the end tail shaft of the Glide is pretty narrow. Yeah, long story short, man, I'm starting to have some regrets on this. It is going to be a lot of work and may or may not actually work. So, it just all depends how much you want to cut, right? So if, ground clearance is an issue, then cutting cutting the tunnel and moving everything up fixes that. But, I'm really adamant about leaving all of the stock appearance stuff in here. Everything that I'm doing, I'm not modifying my existing stuff. I'm making new. So if for some reason it doesn't work, I can put it back together, rear-wheel drive, and it'll have a few upgrades from there. So the front, no matter what, it should get a front and mid plate, just help take some stress off the block. No matter what, it's getting twin turbos. And no matter what, I do want a better motor setup too. So all of that's fine. I'm not touching my carbon fiber drive shaft, so that will be, be able to be reused again for rear wheel drive. I have steel drive shaft that I'll get modified. It'll need to be a lot shorter. So kind of planning ahead just in case. I'm gonna try to make it work, but it is a bit daunting without just like cutting the whole tunnel out and just starting from scratch, which I really don't want to do. So we shall see. A lot longer than it should have, and a lot more tools and mess than it should have. Had to bring out the big dog. Also had to, grind whatever. But end result, I have 3 degrees angle with these re-drilled and slotted a little bit to adjust, but it's exactly 3 degrees tilt here. And then if I add 3 degrees, so mount this even with the motor, and then the motor will be tilted back a few degrees. So like 6 total on the diff, and it gets me about an inch up front. So that's helpful. So in theory, that's like 4 inches of ground clearance up front, and then it's only 3 degrees of U-joint angle from here to the diff, to the transfer case. So that should be all good to go. Next task, I guess, is pull the motor out, and then I'm going to start on the mounting the mid plate with the motor out, trans in, try to bump everything up a little bit is kind of what I'm thinking. Or I may put the transfer case on first and try to get that in. We'll see. But yeah, slow going.